I always thought the apes were nothing more than beasts, brutes meant for chains, cages, and coin. But the night the sky burned red over Highreach, I learned the truth. I watched one of them, a silverback, the size of a warhorse, tear Sir Haldan's head from his shoulders with a single swing. Blood sprayed the air like rain. The knight's body dropped, armor clattering, while the ape held the dripping helmet in its fist and looked at us with eyes far too human. That was the moment I understood they weren't attacking. They were reclaiming, and we were the monsters they were coming for. I was 8 years old when I first understood what glory felt like, not because I earned any, but because I watched it ride past me on horseback. The knights of Highreach thundered down the cobblestone road in a line so perfect it felt choreographed by God. Sunlight struck their polished armor, throwing silver sparks into the air. Their capes snapped behind them like banners of victory. And behind all that splendor came the part that made the crowd roar the loudest. The cages. Massive iron crates dragged behind the horses, each one rattling, shaking, groaning with something alive inside. The apes. Towering creatures with arms thicker than a blacksmith's anvil and eyes that glowed like smoldering embers. They clung to the bars, snarling and spitting, pulling hard enough to bend the metal. Others simply watched us in eerie silence. My mother always pulled me close when the cages passed, whispering for me not to stare. But I couldn't help it. I loved every second of it. I loved the danger, the power, the prestige. And more than anything, I loved Sir Caldus, the knight who led the hunts. He rode at the front of the procession, chin raised, armor burning in the sun. When he removed his helmet, the crowd gasped every time. He was a carving of stone, sharp features, cold eyes, and a voice that could command storms. To me, he wasn't a man. He was the kingdom's beating heart. "He keeps us safe," I whispered, repeating what I heard adults say. Father nodded beside me. From the beasts of the Moonlit Jungle, the apes would tear us apart if not for the knights. But as I looked at one ape pressing its face to the cage bars, its amber eyes locked onto mine. It didn't rage or roar. It didn't even blink. It just watched me, studied me, as if memorizing my shape. A strange chill crawled up my spine, but I ignored it. Fear had no place in the heart of a future knight. Because that was my fate, I was certain of it. I told everyone who would listen. I'll join the knights of Highreach one day. I'll hunt the apes. I'll protect the kingdom. Some adults smiled. Some laughed. And some, like my mother, sighed as though afraid of the very dream I held. Warriors don't just swing swords, she warned me. They bleed. They break. But I was young, invincible, dream drunk. Nothing she said reached me, not when I spent every evening mimicking the knight's dance, swinging sticks in the backyard, pretending each shadow was a monstrous ape lunging at me. Over time, I learned more about the hunts. The apes weren't simple beasts. They built their dens with patterns carved into the stone. They laid branches in patterns that resembled symbols. Sometimes the knights found abandoned camps with tools arranged in perfect circles, or markings on trees too deliberate to be accidents. "We don't know how smart they are," Father admitted once, "only that they are smarter than they should be." But despite the warnings, the fear, the hushed rumors, my admiration never faded. If anything, it burned brighter. So on the morning of my 14th birthday, the age permitted for trainees, I stood at the gates of the night barracks with shaking hands and a racing heart. Sir Caldus himself walked out to greet the hopefuls. His gaze swept over us like a blade. When it reached me, he paused. "Name?" "Elden," I said, forcing my voice steady. "I wish to train as a knight." By the time my first hunt arrived, I was 16, old enough to lift a sword properly, old enough to ride without falling, and foolish enough to believe bravery meant ignoring fear. The night we set out, the sky was still bruised purple, holding onto the last scraps of daylight. Sir Caldus rode at the head of our formation, cloak rippling behind him like a dark banner. I had imagined this moment all my life. But nothing, not the stories, not the training, not the childhood fantasies, prepared me for the reality that waited inside the Moonlit Jungle. We crossed its border just as the moon rose, pale and full. The canopy swallowed the light greedily, letting only broken pieces drip through. The air changed instantly, thicker, wetter, humming with a strange vibration beneath the usual chorus of insects. My horse's ears twitched nervously. "Stay close, Elden," whispered Garrett, another young trainee beside me. He tried to sound confident, but his voice cracked. Sir Caldus raised a hand, and a line halted. "This is not a playground," he growled. "These beasts will tear your limbs off before you have time to scream. Trust your training. Trust your blade. And do not, under any circumstances, wander." His voice echoed through the trees like a warning bell. We pushed deeper. The first sign of danger came from the trees themselves. Massive claw marks raked across the trunks, deep enough to suggest enormous strength, but arranged in unsettling patterns. 3 vertical lines. A circle. 3 more. Repeating. "Territory marks," a knight muttered. "Mindless beasts trying to scare us." But I remembered my father's voice. "They are smarter than they should be." The marks didn't feel mindless. Soon, we reached the pit traps. Long ago, knights dug them for ambushes, but many had been destroyed, filled with branches, covered deliberately, altered. It was as though something had studied the design, corrected it, improved it. Still, the knights waved it off. Animals adapting, they said, nothing more. But doubt curled in my stomach like smoke. The first ape encounter shattered any remaining naivete. It happened as we approached a clearing where moonlight spilled like silver water. A scout signaled us forward, whispering that he'd spotted a lone ape drinking from the stream. Lone? That should have been the first red flag. Caldus gestured for us to form a semicircle. The knights moved with practiced silence, ropes and iron restraints ready. I watched, breath tight in my throat. The creature knelt at the water's edge, massive, back thick with muscle, first silvery under the moon. Then, suddenly, it froze. Its head tilted, listening. Before anyone breathed, it spun around, roaring so violently the air shook. It tore through the first knight who lunged. I watched in horror as its arm swung upward, catching the man under the ribs, lifting him clear off the ground and slamming him into a tree so hard the bark cracked. Blood sprayed, warm and metallic, misting the leaves. Chaos erupted. 3 knights rushed it at once. The ape grabbed one by the throat and hurled him into another. A fourth slashed its leg with a sword, drawing a roar of pain but barely slowing it. It took 7 men to finally bring it down. When it fell, the ground trembled. Eric whispered, trembling. That was supposed to be a simple capture. Sir Caldus knelt beside the ape's body. His jaw tightened. "They're growing bolder," he muttered, "or smarter." But the worst was yet to come. At the far end of the clearing lay something none of us expected, our cages. 10 of them. Bent open, empty. No bodies, no blood, no signs of struggle. Just the doors, pried outward, deliberately, and carved into the ground in front of them, perfect circles. Straight lines, patterns too precise to be natural. A message, a warning, or a plan. Caldus rose slowly. "Mount up," he said, voice low. "We're not hunting beasts anymore." The moon above us suddenly felt colder, and for the first time, I wondered if we were the ones being hunted. We didn't have long to wonder if we were being hunted. The jungle seemed to shift around us, the shadows stretching unnaturally, as if watching, waiting. Then it began. A single branch snapped, distant but deliberate. Sir Caldus froze in place, eyes narrowing. The line of knights tensed, swords drawn, hearts hammering. Then came another snap, and another, faster, closer, surrounding us. The apes struck. They didn't charge blindly. They emerged from the darkness with terrifying precision. Some dropped from the canopy, swinging from vines, landing atop our formation with savage grace. Others emerged from behind trees, slashing with sharpened sticks and jagged stones. The air filled with the screams of men and the metallic ring of steel against claw and bone. I barely had time to react when a knight beside me was flung sideways into a pit trap, the wooden stakes waiting hungrily at the bottom. His scream cut off in a wet, sickening snap. I swung my sword, barely connecting with a leaping ape, its fur brushing my face as it tumbled to the ground, but another replaced it instantly, relentless. Sir Caldus roared commands, but they were swallowed by chaos. Ambushes everywhere, coordinated in ways that made no natural sense. Apes leapt from hidden holes, shoved stones from above, even dragged fallen trees to block our escape. Each trap seemed designed specifically for us. The more experienced knights were falling, one by one, their disciplined formations shredded within minutes. I saw Garrick fall beside a shattered log, a massive ape pressing down on him. I wanted to help, but another came at me from the side, slashing across my arm. Pain flared, burning, but I stumbled backward, heart hammering, desperately scanning the chaos. Then I saw it. Not like the others. Larger. Taller. Its fur was darker, its movements slower but precise, deliberate. It paused atop a ridge, studying us with something almost human in its eyes. Every motion suggested intelligence, strategy, calculation. The rest of the apes seemed to respond to its silent signals, flanking, striking, retreating, and regrouping as if following orders. My stomach twisted. This wasn't a random frenzy. This was war. Sir Caldus noticed it too, sword raised, jaw tight. The leader, he hissed, voice almost swallowed by the chaos, focus it. Kill it, and the rest may falter. I wanted to move toward him to join the attack, but instinct held me back. My sword felt heavy in my hands, my breaths ragged. Around me, the knights' shouts were cut short, one by one. A rope trap yanked a man into the canopy, his scream echoing as branches snapped under his weight. Another was pinned beneath a fallen tree, the life draining from him before anyone could reach him. Time blurred. The apes attacked in waves, retreating as quickly as they struck, leaving carnage in their wake. Every swing of my blade, every leap over a pit trap, every desperate lunge for survival felt insufficient against their overwhelming intelligence and ferocity. And then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. The apes withdrew, melting back into the shadows of the jungle. Silence returned, heavy and suffocating, broken only by the moans of the wounded and the occasional scream of those left behind. I looked around. Bodies, knights I had trained alongside for years, lay broken, bloodied, and lifeless. Garrick, Sir Caldus, and a handful of others were all that remained. My chest heaved. My arm throbbed. My mind raced. They coordinated, Garrick muttered, voice trembling, eyes wide. They planned it. Like an army. Sir Caldus' face was pale under the moonlight, jaw tight, eyes burning with anger and fear. Mount up now, he barked. We're taking what's left of our men back to the kingdom. If we stay, we die. We fled. The jungle, once mysterious and foreboding, now felt like a living predator pressing against our backs. Every snapped twig, every rustle of leaves sent our hearts racing faster. Behind us, I could almost swear I saw the leader ape pause atop a ridge, watching us go, eyes glinting with intelligence and fury. And I knew We had not seen the last of them. Highreach never looked smaller than it did through my weary eyes. From the ridge where we returned, the walls gleamed under the morning sun, banners snapping proudly in the wind. The kingdom was alive with preparation, soldiers marching, smiths hammering steel, and horn blowers announcing every minor victory as though it could ward off the shadow that now loomed over us. Sir Caldus was everywhere at once, barking orders, inspecting walls, testing gates, rallying troops. Garrick and I trailed behind him, moving through the bustling courtyard with hollow eyes. We had survived the jungle, barely, but the weight of what we had seen clung to our shoulders like wet, suffocating cloaks. "The beasts won't dare," one of the captains boasted loudly, sword raised as if to punctuate his confidence. "They've never faced the might of Highreach." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to hold on to the illusion that our walls, our swords, and our numbers could protect us. But every moment I remembered the leader ape, the intelligence in its eyes, the way it had orchestrated slaughter in the jungle. This was no mindless predator. These were creatures capable of strategy, patience, and vengeance. Night came slowly. The gates were barred, the walls manned, torches casting flickering shadows across the ramparts. I couldn't shake the images of bloodied knights, crushed bodies, and the empty cages in the moonlit jungle. My stomach twisted with guilt, a whisper I could not silence. Were we hunters, or were we criminals? I wandered near the edge of the wall, gazing down at the forest beyond the river. The apes we hunted, trained, and captured, they had done nothing to provoke us but survive. Did their intelligence make them fair game? Did their strength justify their death? My hands clenched the stone battlement as the question throbbed in my mind. The first warning came as a low rumble, subtle at first, like distant drums in the forest. Then the sound grew louder, more insistent, echoing through the trees, vibrating the ground beneath our feet. Garrick's eyes widened. "Do you hear that?" he whispered. Before I could answer, chaos erupted. From the jungle's edge, the apes descended like shadows made flesh. They didn't rush blindly, they swarmed, climbing over each other, scaling walls, tearing at the gates, battering them with fallen logs and jagged stones. Torches toppled. The sentries screamed. I ran to the nearest battlement, sword raised, heart hammering. Knights swung desperately at the climbing apes, slashing, thrusting, but for every one they cut down, two more took its place. The siege was methodical. Holes were ripped in the wooden defenses, ladders toppled, ropes flung over walls. Even the walls themselves seemed too small to hold back the tide. "Hold them!" Sir Caldus roared, voice raw. "Do not!" His words were swallowed by the roar of hundreds of snarling, intelligent attackers. I caught sight of the leader ape again, its dark fur gleaming in torchlight, eyes burning with fury. It coordinated the assault, signaling, retreating, then striking again, faster than any man could follow. Knights fell like wheat before the scythe. The smell of blood, smoke, and splintered wood filled the air. Garrick screamed as a massive ape slammed through the parapet beside him, sending him sprawling into the courtyard. I lunged, swinging blindly, but the creature vanished into the chaos. By midnight, the impossible had happened. The gates, the massive, iron-bound gates of Highreach, shattered under relentless assault. Wood splintered, hinges snapped, and a deafening roar echoed through the kingdom as the apes poured through the breach, unstoppable and precise. I stumbled backward, chest heaving, eyes wide with disbelief. Around me, the once proud kingdom quaked, and I realized the truth none of us wanted to admit. Highreach was not prepared. Not for them. Not for this. And the war had only just begun. Highreach had become a nightmare made real. The gates were gone, splintered beyond repair, and the jungle's fury poured into the streets like a crimson tide. Chaos erupted in every alleyway. Civilians screamed, clutching children and fleeing blindly. Merchants abandoned stalls, their wares scattered underfoot. The air was thick with smoke, the acrid scent of burning wood, and the coppery tang of blood. Knights tried to hold the lines, but it was impossible. The apes moved with terrifying coordination, scaling walls, smashing barricades, and flinging debris with unerring accuracy. Their cries, half roar, half something almost human, filled the night, reverberating off the stone buildings and echoing through narrow streets. I ran alongside Garrick, our swords barely keeping pace with the madness. The knight fell before us, impaled on a jagged piece of timber hurled by a leaping ape. I didn't stop to look. I couldn't. Every instinct screamed to survive, but my heart broke for those who didn't. Then I saw the leader. It emerged from the center of the chaos, moving with a terrifying calm that cut through the frenzy. Dark fur gleamed under torchlight, muscles rippling with lethal power. But it wasn't just strength that struck me, it was the eyes. Rage, yes, but also grief, fury, and intelligence. It was as if the entire weight of its people's suffering rested on its shoulders, a living storm of pain and purpose. A group of knights tried to confront it. They charged, swords raised, but it met them with a single precise sweep of its arm, knocking them down like rag dolls. Each strike was calculated, controlled, deliberate. It was killing, but not with the mindless fury of a beast. Each movement told a story of loss, of survival, of anger at a world that had hunted its kind. I watched, heart pounding, as it turned toward the fleeing civilians, its roar cutting through the chaos like a blade. Some of the apes pulled families to safety, dragging them behind walls, away from the immediate danger. Others tore through soldiers with frightening efficiency. And all the while, the leader observed, its eyes scanning, calculating, commanding, mourning. I raised my sword, hoping to intervene, to make some difference, but the world seemed to move too fast. Screams and roars overlapped in a cacophony of death and despair. I saw Garrick fall, trampled beneath a rampaging ape. I wanted to reach him, but another knocked me off my feet, blades sparking against the stone as I fell. Pain shot through my side, and I realized with a shock that I had been slashed, blood now soaking my tunic. Sir Caldus appeared suddenly, dragging me upright, his face grim but controlled. Around us, knights were either dead or scattered, the streets a tapestry of chaos and blood. "Move!" he barked, hauling me toward a side alley. I stumbled, vision blurred, each step a struggle against pain and panic. Behind us, the apes pressed forward, their fury unrelenting, their cries echoing off every wall, but we ran. As we turned a corner, I caught one last glimpse of the leader. It paused, head tilting slightly, eyes locking with mine. There was recognition there, acknowledgement of the battle, the hatred, the grief. And in that brief instant, I understood something terrifying. This was not a simple war. This was a reckoning. I felt myself collapse against Sir Caldus, my strength failing, limbs trembling from exhaustion and blood loss. He dragged me further, deeper into the chaos, into temporary safety. Every scream, every clash, every crash of timber behind us reminded me that Highreach was lost, or at least that we were losing it fast. The streets were rivers of blood, and the night was alive with fury. And I, helpless and wounded, could only cling to Sir Caldus as he pulled me from the inferno. Dawn revealed a world unrecognizable. Smoke curled into the sky, blackening the horizon. Half of Highreach was gone, reduced to smoldering ruins. The streets, once alive with traders and townsfolk, were littered with debris, broken carts, shattered stone, and the bodies of men who had fallen defending a kingdom that no longer felt theirs. Silence stretched over the devastation, broken only by the distant, guttural cries of wounded apes returning to the jungle. Even their calls seemed tempered now, as if they too were mourning the cost of victory. Garrick and I moved through the ruin, our boots slipping in mud and blood, hearts heavy with the weight of what had passed. We were among the few who had survived the night. The knights, so many had fallen, now lay in twisted heaps, their armor scarred, their swords discarded, I could barely think, barely breathe. Every street corner told the story of our defeat. The walls of Highreach, once proud and formidable, had been smashed, burned, or climbed with terrifying ease. And yet, amidst the ruin, a truth began to claw its way into my mind, a revelation as cold and sharp as any blade. The apes had not acted out of sudden rage or instinct alone. They had planned this. For years, every ambush, every trap, every coordinated strike in the Moonlit Jungle and at our gates, it was part of a strategy meticulously honed over time. They had studied us, waited for their moment, and struck with the precision of generals. Their liberation was not spontaneous. It had been inevitable. I shuddered as I thought of the cages in the jungle, empty and pried open with deliberate care. Every step we had taken had been anticipated. Every move we had made had been predicted. And for all our armor, our swords, and our numbers, we had been outmatched by intelligence and fury combined. The air vibrated with tension once more, and I turned to see movement atop the ruined keep. Sir Caldus faced the leader ape, their stares locked across the rubble of the courtyard. The knight's sword gleamed dully in the morning light, though his armor was dented and scorched. The ape stood tall, fur singed in places, eyes smoldering with grief and fury. Every movement of the creature spoke of planning, of years of restraint, and of the deep pain of its people. They circled each other, predator and warrior, both measuring strength, both testing resolve. Sir Caldus struck first, a desperate lunge aimed at the creature's side. The leader dodged with effortless grace, countering with a swing that shattered the nearby battlement. Sparks flew where steel met stone, and for a moment the world seemed suspended between life and death. I could not look away. There was no madness in the ape's eyes, no blind hatred, only intelligence, grief, and a calculated sense of justice. And though I had fought against them, I understood, in that terrible instant, that we had been the invaders in their world all along. The clash ended as suddenly as it had begun. With a powerful roar, the leader signaled the remaining apes. They retreated, vanishing back into the jungle with the same precision and coordination that had defined their attack. Sir Caldus lowered his sword, breathing heavily, his eyes following the retreating figures. I stumbled toward him, arm weak, lungs burning. Around us, the kingdom lay in ruin, half of it smoldering, half of it silent. And yet, in the distance, the jungle hummed with life and anticipation. I could feel it even through the rubble, the promise or the threat that they would return. Stronger, wiser, and ready. Highreach was quiet now, but the war was far from over. I stood among the ruins of Highreach, the ash of the kingdom clinging to my hair and clothes, dust settling into the creases of my armor. The streets were silent now, save for the occasional creak of charred beams and a distant drip of water from fractured roofs. Smoke hung in the morning air like a stubborn fog, stubborn as the questions gnawing at my mind. Half the kingdom was gone, our pride shattered, our banners tattered and singed. The knights who remained moved like ghosts, faces drawn and eyes hollow, haunted by the echoes of screams, the blood soaked into every street. I could barely recognize the men I had trained with, and I could barely recognize myself. I remembered the apes, not as monsters, but as something more. The leader's eyes, so alive with intelligence, grief, and fury, had burned themselves into my memory. Every calculated move, every tactical strike, every act of violence had been a message. We had invaded their world, destroyed their homes, and treated them as mere obstacles to our pride and dominion. The cages in the jungle, empty and deliberately pried open, had not been just a warning. They were a testament to patience, planning, and retribution. For the first time, I questioned the stories I had grown up on, the songs that glorified conquest, the oaths that praised strength over understanding. Perhaps the kingdom, in its hubris, had been the villain all along. Perhaps our heroes had simply been blind intruders, stumbling into a world that demanded respect and balance, and paying for it with fire and blood. I walked through the courtyard, sword in hand, but feeling its weight more as a burden than a tool. The names of fallen knights, friends and mentors alike, seemed etched into the scorched stones beneath my feet. Each step I took echoed with a memory of failure, a reminder that honor and victory were not always aligned. And yet, the ceremony awaited. In the ruins of what had once been the central hall, Sir Caldus and the surviving knights gathered. By tradition, a sword was placed upon my shoulder, a knight's mantle draped over me, and my title proclaimed. I was now, officially, a knight of Highreach. But the title felt hollow, a mockery of everything I had endured. I had the name, the armor, the oath, but not the spirit I had once imagined. I glanced toward the edge of the city where the jungle pressed close, its dark canopy a reminder of the lives it sheltered. Even now, there was no victory in the air, only a fragile pause. And then I heard it, a low rumble, distant yet unmistakable, the drums of the jungle, echoing through the trees like a heartbeat, a rhythm ancient and deliberate, carrying a warning or perhaps a promise. The apes had retreated, yes, but not defeated. Their fury, their grief, their intelligence, everything I had seen in the leader, was not spent. It pulsed through the jungle still, and I knew, with a cold certainty, that this war was only paused, only waiting. I closed my eyes and felt the weight of the sword, the weight of my choices, and the weight of the truth I could no longer deny. Highreach had survived the night, but we had not survived the lesson. And I, a knight in title but forever changed in spirit, understood that the world we had fought to protect was no longer the same world we thought we knew. The drums grew louder in my mind, a pulse that would not be ignored. And somewhere deep in the jungle, I could feel the leader watching, waiting, planning. The next chapter had not yet begun, but when it did, the world would tremble again. I tightened my grip on the sword, swallowed the bitter taste of ashes, and took my first step forward into a world that had been rewritten by blood, fire, and intelligence far greater than my own. The war was far from over.